Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Honorable to the Haji Hasan Mutawakil Allah SHMM as the caretaker of Zainul Hasan Islamic Boarding School. Honorable to the Dr. Abdul Aziz BAMAG as Director of UNZA. Honorable to the Dr. Zainuddin MPD as the Head of English Education Department. The Honorable to the Mr. Ivan Nawawi MPD as the lecturer of Listening Comprehension 4. Let me introduce myself. My name is Ahmad Zainul Mukmin, but everyone call me Zain. Today, I would like to present a topic entitled Essential TOEFL Listening Skills for Beginners. As we know, TOEFL is one of the most widely recognized English proficiency tests. It is commonly required for university admission, scholarship applications, and even career opportunities. Among the 4 sections of the TOEFL test, many learners find the listening section particularly challenging because they have to understand spoken English in a limited amount of time. Therefore, in this presentation, I will introduce 2 essential listening skills that can help beginners perform better in the TOEFL listening section. I will also provide sample TOEFL style questions, explain how to answer them correctly, and share some practical tips for improving listening skills. Without further ado, let's begin. Introduction to TOEFL listening. Before discussing the listening skills, let's first understand what the TOEFL listening section is. The TOEFL listening section is designed to assess how well test takers understand spoken English in an academic environment. During the test, you will listen to conversation between students and university staff, as well as lectures given by professor. After each conversation of lecture, you will answer several multiple choice questions based on what you have heard. This question may ask about the speaker's purpose, implied meaning, important details or conclusion. One important thing to remember is that you usually hear each recording only once. This means you need to stay refuse and pay attention to the speaker's ideas from beginning to end. Many beginners believe they must understand every single word. However, this is not true. In TOEFL listening, understanding the main message and recognizing important clues are much more important than translating every word. With that in mind, let's move to the first listening skills. Listening skills 1, understanding the speaker's purpose. The first listening skills is understanding the speaker's purpose. In TOEFL listening, you may find questions such as why does the student visit the professor, or why does the professor mention this example. These questions are not asking about every detail of the conversation. Instead, they ask you to identify the reason why the speaker says something or takes a particular action. To answer this type of question correctly, you should pay close attention to the context of the conversation. Ask yourself, what is the speaker trying to achieve? Or why is this information being mentioned. For example, if a student says that they do not understand yesterday's lecture and then ask to meet the professor, the student purpose is most likely to ask for clarification or academic help. Instead of focusing on individual words, try to understand or the overall intersection. Try to understand the overall intention of the speaker. This will help you answer proposed questions more accurately. Okay, listening skills 2. Making inferences. The second listening skills is making inferences. Sometimes the speaker does not express an idea directly. Instead, they give clues that allow listening to understand the hidden meaning. In TOEFL, listening in inference question often begin with phrases such as what can be inferred or what does the speaker imply. To answer the question, you need to combine the information you heard with the context of the conversation. For example, imagine a student says, I studied all night, but I still don't feel confident about tomorrow's exam. They, the, then the friend replies, you have always done well in this class. Although the friend never directly says, you will pass them. You will pass the exam. We can infer that the friend believes the student will probably perform well. Therefore, when answering inference question, remember that correct answer is often implied rather than directly stated. Sample TOEFL listening question. Now that we have discussed the two listening skills, let's see how they can be applied through some TOEFL style question. Let's begin with the first example. In this conversation, the student says, I'm still confused about yesterday's lecture. Then the professor replies, come to my office tomorrow. The question is, what does the student visit the professor? The correct answer is to ask for help understanding the lecture. We can identify the answer by confusing on the student's purpose. The student clearly mentioned being confused, which tells us the reason for meeting the professor. Now let's move to the second example. In this conversation, the student says that they studied all night but still do not feel confident about the exam. But friends responds, you have always done well. The question asks, the correct answer is that the friend believes that the students will perform well on the exam. Even though the friend never says this directly, we can understand the implied meaning from the context. This is exactly how inference question work in TOEFL listening. These examples show that understanding the speaker's purpose and recognizing implied meaning are both essential skills for meaning TOEFL listening question correctly. Okay, how to answer TOEFL listening question. After looking at the examples, let's discuss some simple steps for answering TOEFL listening question effectively. First, read the question carefully before choosing an answer. Understanding what the question asks will help you focus on the most relevant information. Second, identify the key words in the conversation of or lecture. Do not try to remember every sentence. Instead, pay attention to important ideas, respond, and supporting details. Third, think about the context. Ask yourself questions such as why did the speaker say this? Or what does the speaker really mean? Finally, eliminate answer choices that do not match the conversation. Sometimes two options may look similar, but only one is fully supported by what the speakers actually said. By following this step, you can answer TOEFL listening question more confidently and accurately. Next, practical tips and conclusion. Before I end the presentation, I would like to share a few practical tips for improving your TOEFL listening skills. First, practice listening to English every day, even 15 or 20 minutes of daily practice can make a significant difference over time. Second, use reliable TOEFL preparation materials such as official EATS research or Baron's TOEFL books. These materials help you become familiar with the actual test format. Third, do not translate every word into your native language. Instead, focus on understanding the speaker's main message and supporting ideas. Finally, stay calm during the test. If you miss one word or sentence, do not panic. Continue listening because the next information may help you answer the question correctly. To conclude, TOEFL listening is not about understanding every single word. It is about understanding the speaker's message, identifying their purpose, and making logical inferences from that you heard. By practicing this, by practicing this two listening skill consistently, you can become more confident and improve your performance in the TOEFL listening section. Okay, thank you very much for your attention. I hope the presentation might help you understand some essential TOEFL listening skill for beginners. If you have any question, I would like to be happy answering them. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.